good. Okay, we'll move into public comment. Is there any public comment today? Any public comment today? You guys want to talk about the weather?
This is awful.
Okay, seeing none, let's move on to approve the minutes of the December 6th, 2025 board meeting. You should have a copy of that in front of you. Take a moment to review.
I'll move to approve the meeting minutes of December 6, 2025.
Okay, Laura's moved to approve the minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
Kim, second. Any other discussion on the minutes? Okay, seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you. All right, let's move on to the treasurer's report. I'll do the best I can here. Steve is not feeling well, so we'll start out with the, for the 1 month ending of December 25th, the receipts for the period amounted for 0. Disbursements for the period to $19,727.66, detailed on the attached transition statement or listing. We'll talk about that in a second. The asset balance for the month ends consisting of the following. The checking account total was $124,676.56. The restricted fund amount, $5,771.30. That must be.
That's for our cost share.
That's for our cost share, the 417 line. The restricted fund amount for $19,000. That is the.
That's for the stream bank restoration project. And Steve and I talked about this week about how to best show y'all how much money has come out of that specific restricted funds account. So that's why you see consumed in December $38.76. Andrew went out there and collected water quality samples, and the remaining fund is below that.
Okay. And then you see the consumed amount for $38.76. The remaining fund is $18,961.24. Same line item. And then the general funds available is $99,905.26. And there are no other items to report there. So the December payment list, you see that in front of you. So we have the monthly counts that go out. Reimbursement from the town of Oakland for $579.28. We have payroll. We have legal. Legal came under what we initially thought. That was good news, $2,374. So we got a real good deal on what was left outstanding there. Mowing, Sandtech for $1,000. That must have been what was that one for? The $1,000.
That's for our inlet stream our inlet stream restoration project.
Okay.
No, just like end of the year 2025 final wrap-ups, like the reports and the meetings that we were having.
Okay. Then you see the payroll, stipend, new property taxes for $2,636, payroll, some tax stuff there, the Visa bill, and our 2 loan payments, which we'll maybe talk a little bit about here in a little bit, and then again the payroll and the pension. So for a total of $19,727.66. Okay, any questions about the report?
I think the budget committee should be commended for coming in the black.
Well,
well done.
Thank you. Thank you, because we worked very, very hard. We were crunching numbers literally to the last week to try to come in within budget, and most of those things that we were moving around at the last minute were unexpected expenses that we were trying to figure out what to do with because we had legal fees and other things associated with the property we purchased, and there was some other stuff that came in at the last minute, like maintenance issues. So we moved things around, and we actually came in at budget, I guess you would say, instead of having to go under and use some of the reserves. We were prepared to use reserves if we had to, but we did everything possible, and we actually came in at budget. So yeah, great job, Steve, myself, and Leanna, and everybody else who helped out. So that was quite a task. But we made it. I think we should probably take a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
I'll do that.
Okay, Georgia has made a motion to approve the treasurer's report. Is there a
I'll second.
second? Doug seconded. Okay, any other questions on the report? Okay, seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, thank you, everyone. And then the last thing is kind of the running total spreadsheet that kind of shows all the year-end stuff as we went through the years, or through the months, and kind of totals it all up. So in the end, we got the over-under, the 5,507 is the actual end of it, right? That's where we ended up, so 5,507.52, and we made it. So, great job, you guys. Okay, any other questions there? Anything else you guys want to discuss with the budget? Okay, seeing none, we will move on from the treasurer's report. Oakland Town Representative, Laura Payne's here today. Laura, do you have any updates?
I have a couple things. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for coming in this snowy day. As I had mentioned last month, we are moving forward with our boat launch improvements. Our town engineer, Strand, came to our meeting last month and went over the proposal, and we voted unanimously to move forward with that. So for some of you who weren't here last month, the proposal that I mentioned was we'll have the dock that all the boats can use. It's going to be large enough for the weed harvester, so thanks to Leanna for helping out with that and ensuring that that was designed properly for her and the Lake District. And we also will be having a paddlecraft launching as well. So that's really great. So not just motorboats, but now kayaks and canoes and anything else can use that spot. They're far enough away from each other. There's enough space, so it'll be safe for the kayaks and away from the cars turning in to get their boats in the water. It will be ADA compliant, so we
nice.
will have accessibility for all. We'll still have a bathroom. We'll be redoing the road as well, that part of Island Road, and we'll still be having the same configuration for the parking lots. And if anybody wants more information and wants to see a preliminary design, just please let me know, and I'm happy to get that for you. And the grant applications, we have two. One is for the U.S. Wild Sporting Fishery and a DNR grant. So potentially we could get all of this covered. We'll just have to wait and see. Strand has worked on a lot of applications and has had great success, so we're very hopeful at the town board, and they will be submitting that grant application in February. And if and when we get it, I'll let everybody know.
Yeah, great news on the boat ramp.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm really excited about it.
They should extend, they said, about twice as far out as it does currently. So you know how when this whole started, you back out and your trailer gets about where you need to unload your boat, and the rear axles drop off that ledge. Well, it's going to go out about twice as far. There'll be only one side loading, but still twice as far. So that should be very helpful.
And there is some type of hole there that people are hitting right now, so that'll be filled and taken care of. So
Oh, nice.
yes, I think it'll be really great.
Nice. Will the personal watercraft side, non-motorized, will that be on the opposite side then?
Yes.
Oh, nice. Awesome.
Yes.
That'll be great.
Yeah, and there'll be a spot for the bathrooms, picnic table. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
wonderful. Be
it's
really
gonna be
nice.
really nice.
Oh, great.
We're getting a lot done in such a small space.
Regardless of the grants, will the project proceed?
We'll
Not
have to talk
necessarily.
about that.
Not necessarily. I
Yeah.
just wondered.
I think we have a really good shot. If we don't get the grants, then we will have to discuss it at the board and see how much the cost would be to do so.
Sure. Got it.
Yeah, it's a good question, though. I'll give you the answer
No
in
problem.
coming months. So I do have an Enbridge report as well. Last time we were here, they had started to sample for their fourth quarter. They're sampling the surface water, private wells within a half-mile radius, and the groundwater monitoring wells on site on a quarterly basis per their site investigation plan, and that's a pretty standard frequency of reporting. So they collected samples from the 10 wells within the half-mile radius that are private wells, and no contamination was detected in any of them, so that is great news. The surface water in the stream adjacent to the site was sampled on November 21st, 2025. Leanna went out and did some sampling with them, and she can go over her sampling results. But there were 4 locations, upstream, downstream, and right at the site. The only contamination that was detected was styrene at a very low level, and it was detected in the most downstream sample, and no other VOCs were collected. But styrene is not a constituent in the crude oil, so they have recently submitted that analysis, and that is not typically found in crude oil, but they actually have a breakdown of everything that they find in theirs. It can vary slightly from the different sources. So at this time, it's believed that it's unlikely from the spill. Styrene is a component of plastic, so it may be from the car parts, people driving by. It's very close to the road. But I don't think it's been found in there before, so I don't think it's a long-term issue. But monitoring will continue to see what happens there. So they did groundwater sampling December 15th through the 17th and collected samples from the 18 groundwater monitoring wells and the potable well on site. No VOCs were detected in any wells, but very low levels of the PAHs, that's the polyaromatic hydrocarbons, that's also part of the crude oil, was detected in just 2 wells where they've had contamination detected in the past.
On site, though.
On site.
Yeah.
MW13, which is to the west of the spill location, and MW8, which is just a little bit further east. Those are where they found some before, but they were very low levels, kind of, they were J-flagged. They were in between their lab reporting and the non-detection. So they were very low, but that was very good. Nothing has spread to those downstream wells. It's only a very small amount, so hopefully that means all that they've done so far with removing of the oil is keeping that plume very small. But they will continue to monitor that. I talked to Caroline Rice from the DNR, and they are in compliance. They're submitting everything on time and properly according to their investigation plan and any state requirements that are there. I did also talk to the Enbridge representative, and they plan on submitting their soil vapor extraction design report in March. It'll have to go through the review process with the DNR, and so right now they're anticipating construction in June or July if everything goes according to plan. And so that will be really good to have that started, to start to help any residual oil that has been there from the excavations starting to get removed as well. So it's going, they're moving along as expected and at a pretty good clip. And all we can do at this time is really continue to monitor, and I'll keep on this vigilantly along with Leanna, and if anything comes up that doesn't look good, we'll be discussing it immediately and seeing what we can do about it.
So it's been about a year now, just over a year, right?
It's just been over a year. It was in December that
Yeah.
the spill was reported,
So
And
are we going to try to plan another, like an open meeting or another update meeting with them? They
I
can
would
come
like
in?
to do that, but they're not required to do so.
Right.
So hopefully they would be willing to do that.
Maybe in a few months or something?
I would like to see something after the SVE system is at least designed so that we can have questions answered about that. I think that would be really helpful for people to see. I reported, I think last month, in case I know some people from the board weren't here, maybe you weren't here too, Enbridge did work on their system itself and get new, what was it, Jimmy, joints?
Some kind of flow monitors were, remember in our public meeting where we were very vocal about, how much product's moving through the system and why can't they detect if there's, minute leaks somewhere and then
Right.
detect why there's a leak somewhere and maybe be able to figure out a monitoring system. And they actually were able to do it. They
Yeah, they
actually installed something in the main line, they said.
More upgrades to the system, like the flanges and the joints. They have a more updated system now. There's some more checks and balances there. I didn't pull it up. I had read it last month as well as at the town board meeting, exactly what he said. But this is very good news. This is really helpful to prevent additional leaks as well as detecting it more quickly. So that was a very proactive move that they did, and it's really helpful. And as my understanding, they were also upgrading other locations as well, not just the Cambridge. So that was really important. So they
Yep.
listened to the people
Yeah.
and moved on that.
I think our voices were heard a little bit there.
Yes, yes,
Sounds
I
like-
believe so.
Quick question, how
Yeah.
long do they do the testing? I know because of the leak, that's probably not standard practice to do private wells and things of that nature. Have they indicated, is there a policy or any questions regarding, I mean, obviously they're coming up negative, which is good, but how long do they test for? Did they say?
It will be the DNR that tells them when they
Oh,
can
okay.
stop testing.
Okay.
So this is state requirements. So there's still kind of an investigation phase at this. So there are requirements when they can indicate that a plume is shrinking, and other requirements for each of the sites. I don't think it's going to be any time in the near future. I think they will continue monitoring for a long time, especially since they'll be doing this SVE system. So it'll
Yeah.
be important to continue with that. But I would say for many years, they will
Interesting.
continue. And they're only required by state statute to, because of the site and what they found there, they were required to monitor the private wells within a quarter of a mile. But the county and myself advocated to go a half a mile. And so Enbridge agreed to do that, so they
Okay.
are
So they're
doing
pretty
that.
cooperative, sounds
Yes,
like.
and then if, this is a fluid situation here. So as you monitor it, if something else changes or you see contamination going off-site, then they may, at any site, they may expand how many private wells need to be done. They may need to expand how many monitoring wells they have. So it's not set in stone. It can change.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
Okay, any questions for Laura? Thanks for that report, Laura. It's always good to hear good news from Enbridge. Okay, moving on to Jefferson County Representative. Meg is not here, and I don't have anything from her. So we'll move on to Lake Manager's report, Leanna Spencer.
Alrighty, it was a good month this month, and I will start off by saying I am going to be a presenter again at the Lakes and Rivers Conference this year, which is super awesome. I love being a part of this conference, and it's even cooler that I get to be a presenter. So I'll be presenting on our banded killifish project again, another update of what we're doing, and hopefully convince the DNR to put some monies into non-recreational, non-game fish, right, into our dicky fish species. So fingers crossed for that. Our Sleepy Hollow cost share project is moving along. They officially have entered their 30-day public comment period for their permit. Once that is over, any public comment that was provided will be added into their permit stipulations, and they will be moving forward with their riprapping of their shoreline.
They have 6 months to complete that, right?
They do, yep.
We
Their
extend that,
final
but-
extension lasts through July 7th, 2026. And we gave them a couple of extensions only because during their project, by the time it was approved to when they started applying for permits, the district had designated 8 critical habitat areas in our lake, and their property fell in one of them. So they have to jump through a couple more hoops than anybody else on the lake since they're in one of those areas on our lake. So they have been really easy to work with and understanding throughout this process and wanting to protect that area. So Jimmy and I felt that it was okay to continue their extension.
Well, and the board approved the funding.
They did.
A year and some ago, right?
Yeah, that was on our restricted fundings. That's that $5,771.
So we were able to move that money and hold it, move it forward until that project's completed, so.
Exactly. All of our DNR grants that ended this past December, I have 6 months to finish and submit all the deliverables and the reimbursement for those. So I'm cranking those out. I've finished my nearshore non-game fish survey report, my point intercept report. I'm working on my shoreland and shallows report. I'm almost done with our aquatic plant management plan, which is needed in order for us to apply for a weed harvesting permit. I'm working on applying for our weed harvesting permit. Our aquatic plant management plan will have the same 30 comment period similar to the cost shares permit. So all those things are being worked on. Jimmy and I did meet with a reporter from the Leader Independent. So if you got the newspaper in the last couple of weeks, you'll see that we had a little article in there talking about our inlet stream restoration project as well as the 2 properties that we recently acquired. And in our ripples, we'll have a bigger expose on the 2 properties that we've just acquired as well. So all that's going really good. I did submit our grant to the Cambridge Community Foundation. I asked again for monies to support our inlet stream restoration project just because it's a $30,000 budget and we want to try to supplement that any way we can. We did receive our 2026 Clean Boats, Clean Waters grant. Those aren't competitive, so as long as you apply for that grant, you'll get it, so that's good news. We'll have another educational employee down at the boat launch again this year, so good news. And hopefully Tony will come back for us. Under Inlet Stream Restoration Project, I've been having a lot of meetings with Stantec. I've gotten the NRCS involved and the Wisconsin Wetlands Association involved. That's one of the organizations that we have a membership to. I just think it's good to have more eyes on this project. I'm a limnologist by trade, not an engineer, so including anybody else that I can and having their professional opinions and guidance and hopefully even some funding would be awesome. They've been really helpful, and we're going to have them join us being the district and Stantec for our site visits in spring, so we can see how water is moving on some of the supportive inlet stream landowners, of which we've met with 4 or 5 sets of inlet stream landowners, and all of them have been super supportive so far. They're interested in what kind of work we would be doing, what kind of best management practices could be installed on their property. So our next step is to get on their property to see what's actually happening. And Jimmy and I, with help of our attorney, have drafted a memorandum of understanding for the landowners to sign to allow us to have access to their property. So those were all sent out last week or the week before, and we anticipate getting those back in the next month to set up site visits for this coming spring. So exciting stuff there.
Landowners were excited and curious.
Yeah.
And which is great because we need all their help along the inlet stream to get this done, right? So
Absolutely.
They were very excited. So.
Yes. And it does say that we have not started our stream bank restoration project, but I sent this to y'all on Wednesday. But on Thursday, we were able to start it with that cold snap that came through. We were able to get out there and start removing some of the really tall box elder and buckthorn trees out there. So they've began piling them. We submitted a burn permit to start burning those piles next week. Herbicide has already been applied, obviously, on those really big trees, so it looks pretty cool out there. If you
Nice.
guys take a walk through the woods, you'll see very obviously a trail of which the tracked skid steer was moving along, so you can walk back there and kind of see the start of this project. So that is exciting. Laura did a great job of updating you guys on the Enbridge oil spill and what's happened there. Like she mentioned, we did do our Q4 testing, and there were some PAH found in the test results, but not concerning due to these specific PAHs not being found in crude oil. So Caroline and I had a conversation about that. Laura and I have had conversations about it, and you know, not a concern as of right now. I am working on seeing whether Enbridge will continue donating monies towards the district doing duplicate water quality samples at that site. We were only scheduled to do it through 2025, so it's unclear if they would reimburse us for those water quality costs at the moment. One of the Enbridge representatives is going to be stopping into my office next week to deliver the Q4 check, so that's when I plan on asking. I feel like in person is always a little better than over an email. So.
And what that is they do their sampling, they send it to their labs.
Yep.
Leanna goes down and gets the sample, and we send it over to Madison in our labs, and then we are able to compare the samples. So, and it's worked out well.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you need any assistance with advocating for that after your conversation,
Yeah.
please let me know.
Thank you. I will do that, and I'll take you up on that. Our banded killifish project is moving along well. Since all this snow, Dave, one of the, I shouldn't call him a project manager, one of the collaborators and I had to go out there and remove all the snow off the ponds so that light can reach the plants and do its thing and provide dissolved oxygen to the fish that we're trying to keep alive and restore in Lake Ripley. And now that we've gotten a bunch more snow, we'll probably have to do that again this month. Which is no big deal. It's nice to go out there and make sure that the dissolved oxygen is being maintained out there. And you know, we've put a lot of time into this already, so we want to ensure that those fish survive the winter and there's no winter overkill, or winter kill, pardon me. Our public works supervisor asked me to look into beet byproduct to not replace, but to be another tool in the toolkit, so to speak, for our plowing and winter snow removal. We did find that there's a lot of excess sugar actually in this beet byproduct, and so it may contribute to bacteria growth in our lake. So for now, we're going to hold off, and there's some other states that are working with this beet byproduct. I believe it's Nebraska, and so maybe after a couple more years of data, we'll be able to better understand what kind of consequences using a beet byproduct has on the environment. And interestingly enough, I got a phone call yesterday from a NPR representative asking about what the district does for the salinization of freshwater lakes. So we had a brief 10-minute conversation about the history of what we've been doing, and I've been able to highlight that, you know, I'm lucky that Jeff is environmentally conscious and pops into my office and asks me about these things, and we talk about brining and anti-icing and pre-treating and using rock salt and all kinds of things. So Burley was her name, and I were able to have a brief conversation, and she's actually going to come out here sometime in February and might pop over to Lake Ripley and meet with Jimmy and I to have a longer conversation about it. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Never been contacted by NPR before.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so,
That's awesome.
yep.
That's well.
Jimmy and I have began brainstorming a fundraiser for our land acquisition, the 11 acres and the 18 acres. So if anybody has any experience with having a successful fundraiser, I'd be happy to listen to your thoughts. All help is appreciated in that. We have officially signed our 5-year burn contract with Pheasants Forever, so that's a great thing. Save us a lot of time in the office. And Clay mentioned that our fire breaks were installed really well, so shout out to Awesome Landscaping. Tyrell Loft does a really great job for us year round.
Well, it saves us some money too, right? So
Oh, yeah.
going to a
Saves us a
long-term
lot of money.
contract should help us in savings. So we lock in that price for 5 years.
Exactly. And I do want to mention that we installed, not a big thing, but we installed a new temperature probe and a snow stake. And now that it's snowing, I'm excited to see how that works this year. So that's just kind of one of the nerdier things that I'm excited about. I should have taken out that weed harvesting paragraph. Sorry, forgot to do that. no weed harvesting happened between December and now. And zoning, the preserve at Oakland, there is a small update. We did get some phase 2 information sent over to us about the wetland donation. So Jimmy and I reviewed the documents, made some changes, and sent the packet to our attorney for a review. Our attorney is going to reach out to John Didion's attorney and work through those documents. And then once they are finalized, we will bring them to the board for approval. And then there's my running list of priorities that you guys can see.
Okay.
Any questions?
You mentioned that you're reapplying for the weed harvesting permit. Is
Yeah.
it going to be, have we asked to expand it, or is it the same cutting lane, same depth, the
Yeah.
same as what we have now?
It will
Can we
be.
ask to expand it?
And how?
Yeah,
It's always, it's in the summer months, it's always the big topic. So I just want to be prepared to answer that, like, hey, we have the same permit, we're not allowed to cut any more than the permit.
Right.
Just trying to be
Yep.
proactive to be able to answer constituents' questions, because as everybody that's been on the board for any length of time knows, that's reoccurring.
Well, I
Yes.
think people think, and I did not know this, the weed harvester is not necessarily the cause for all the weeds on the shoreline all the time.
That
It's
is
prop
correct.
chop.
And
It is
so
not.
I think there's a misconception, because there's a lot of banter online especially,
There is.
where they're saying it's the weed harvester, So, and I'm sure you've put it in ripples and things like that, but maybe just reiterating that education,
Yep.
that it's not the weed harvester all the time, and it's not, it's part of the lake ecosystem that's causing some of that. Living on the north side, we get,
Prop chop.
tons of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've done a lot of research into the, through Aquarius on how much the harvester captures. And I like to explain it as similar to like a combine that goes into a field and collects corn, right? Yeah, you're in the 90 percentile, right, of your collection. Now, do the paddles kick up a little bit? Yeah, but it's still very, very high percentage of collection. So yeah, everything that you're seeing, or most of that you are seeing, is from prop shop. Now, to talk about the permit, that's quite a process. So when there's a possible change that we would look at, we actually have to call the DNR. They have to come out with us. We have to go to that area that we're going to possibly take a look at, and they have to determine that this is an area safe to cut. I mean, that's pretty much how they explained it.
Right.
So it's not like we can just request a change because we're hearing that
Right.
we want to change. So it's kind of a big deal to change
Yeah.
it.
And you need to look at the composition of plants of where you're asking that change to be made.
Right.
If they're all native plants, then why would the DNR grant
They
us
won't.
permission? Unless it's for recreation, which we do have recreational navigational lanes around the entire lake. This map has been, since I've started here, this map has been updated 3 times because of all the feedback we've gotten. We've advised it, or amended it rather, from these large lobes that were focusing on Eurasian water milfoil and curly leaf pondweed to try, do you remember the T lanes that we initially tried to do? We tried to have lanes coming off some of these larger pier systems, and in the end, we found that a loop around the entire lake benefited everybody most. But our main reason and purpose for having the weed harvester and the weed harvesting program is to harvest our invasive plants. That's the whole reason the district started and the whole reason the program began as a whole. So our invasives are actually going down every 5 years. Their reduction is fascinating. We only have like a less than a 10% population of Eurasian water milfoil that I can see after I've analyzed my 2025 plant inventory survey data. So to ask for more lanes or a larger cutting area would be tough, considering the native population of plants.
I think it
in the
would
lake.
be really helpful to basically have, here's my presentation when the questions are asked. And I think, repeat as much as needed.
Yeah.
And really good information to know that, hey, the weeds have gone down, the mats have changed 3 times. I think it would be great just to have that cheat sheet in front of you
Like a
Yeah.
for
history.
every meeting we have.
Well,
And
and it is. It is in our, remember we did that weed harvesting
Yep,
brochure?
yeah.
So at the very back, last page of that harvester brochure is too long, didn't read. Here's a synopsis of everything that I laid out in this weed harvesting brochure. So yeah, we can absolutely bring that into the meetings and hit on some hot spots, but I do plan on having a little blurb either in our ripples or our website or our Facebook once I'm done with all of these reports, because they kind of all go together, and once I've completed our aquatic plant management report, I'll put a little update on what the weed harvesting permit looks like for 2026. And all the work that goes into it. It's not just apply for a weed harvesting permit and you get one, right?
What?
There is a
Well,
lot
and I
of
think,
work.
again, going back to the understanding, not even, because I think that's great information, but then also the layman's like, why do we have weeds that
Yeah.
we're harvesting, and why are they on the shoreline? And I think those little snippets and posts that people can share out to a lot of the HOA people, like the Shore Place and the
Right.
Sylvan Mounds, and share that out as we approach that spring weather,
Yep.
so that people going into recreation season, and as the weeds come in, they know that it's not just the Lake Ripley management cutting weeds and, oh, sorry, no, because there's so much and people dealing with them, right? So, anyway, just
Yeah.
a thought, and I'd be
Yeah,
happy
good
to work
advice.
with you on that
Thanks.
too, from an
And
EDU
not only the
standpoint.
recreational season, but the fertilizing season.
Don't even get me started.
Well, it is a big factor in the
Yes.
amount of
Yeah.
Yes.
weeds that we have, and there's still an awful lot of properties that they fertilize right up to the edge of the lake, and
Oh,
as
yeah.
soon as it rains, where's that fertilizer go?
Mhm.
So,
And mows to the edge of the lake, right? That's another problem.
Right. If they wouldn't
has
mow right
nothing
to
to-
the bottom, right.
Right.
Well, if you ever wanted to start a campaign on that, I'd be happy to help you.
Okay.
thank you.
So, I'm
Appreciate
kind of
that.
passionate
Yeah.
about the weeds.
And we will start our education
You're not the
process
only one.
early
Right.
this year.
And it's important too that, of course, the highest impact will be for those properties right on the shoreline, but you have runoff coming into the lake from quite a
Everywhere.
ways. So the education needs to be with all of those people, because my property and your properties, even though they're not right on the lake, it does affect it.
And we can loop in our inlet stream restoration project, right? The reason we're doing this inlet stream restoration project is to reduce the nutrients and sediments that find our way into the lake every year, which impacts the aquatic plant growth. So, yeah, great. Thanks for your suggestions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Any
and
other-
one of the Ripples articles that touches on the native plant sale also is heavy on what the yards contribute to
Oh, yeah.
Oh, perfect.
to
Yep.
the
Yeah.
nutrients in the lake.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think as we get to more and more of those native plants in the swales and ditches along Ripley Road and other areas, I think awareness increases. Like, why do you have this here? Oh, this is why I have it. And I think you get more and more interest in doing that.
Agreed.
Great comments. Okay, anything else for Leanna? Okay, seeing none, let's move to new business. Master service agreement from Santec. We'll have some discussion and possible action on that. You guys all have a copy of our agreement. Leanna, you want to walk through that?
You bet. I
Anything else,
mentioned
Ruby?
this briefly last month, but a couple of us weren't here and it wasn't on the agenda, so we couldn't approve it. This is a master services agreement. So what I'm asking for is any project that comes up in our inlet stream restoration project specifically, as Stantec is the consultant who's completing this project that we've accepted a contract for the next 5 years, and we've already vetted them. I would like them to do any of the smaller projects that are included in the larger inlet stream restoration project. For example, our stream bank restoration project that we just started on Thursday is a part of our overall inlet stream restoration project, but I had to go out and get 3 separate bids because we don't have what's called a master services agreement. In the end, we accepted a bid from Stantec, and the work is happening. It's just would save me a lot of office time. Instead of asking 3 different contractors for 3 bids, having on-site meetings, having back and forth about what I expect the contract and the bid to look like, this would be easier to say, okay, we want to install a harvestable buffer on our property upstream here. And instead of me having to go get 3 bids, we could just say, Stantec, take care of the work. Again, only for projects related in our inlet stream restoration project.
And it also will save us money, because instead of starting over with another contractor, trying to get them all up to speed and possible have problems or errors or mistakes, we'll stay with the same person throughout this project.
Exactly.
We've been using them the whole way through. The board has approved Santec from the beginning. This is just going to help us in our process moving forward with these smaller little projects.
Right, and I would still expect to come to the board with that said project, because it would cost money, obviously. I wouldn't just be able to say, great, go for it, right? The project of itself would be presented to the board and voted upon. I just don't want to have to go get 3 bids for any little project we do within our broader inlet stream
What's a
restoration.
little project?
Like the stream bank restoration project, or a harvestable buffer.
Here's why I ask.
Yeah,
If we agree to this, and Stantec's blah, 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 and they say, here's your little project, it's $40,000. I kind of hesitate to say, oh, great, it's yours, without, I think that we should look at a dollar figure to say, this is considered a little project.
Sure.
Because a $40,000 project, to me, should have 3 bids. I mean, if they're gonna throw out some wild number at us, we should at least do a little bit of our homework to make sure that they're not giving us a price that's just not within line of other people. You know, I agree with going forward with this, but I just think that we do need to put some guardrails on it.
yeah,
So,
happy to do that.
Do we have anyone else who can provide a quote in this area?
A
If we
quote?
Yeah, if we want to try to check a quote or something, like Doug said, do we have a way to do that?
Yeah,
Okay.
Let me ask this question, in your expertise, Leanna. You probably have a pretty good handle on what price or quote should look like within some of these projects, and if you would see anything that was above and beyond, would that be a better situation to get the quote then?
sure.
Do you know what I mean?
I
Say,
could do
well,
it that
this
way.
looks a little high, or this looks a lot high, and
Right.
say, you know, I'm gonna check the numbers versus maybe doing it every time. Doug, how do you feel about that? I get the bids.
I'm not implying we should do it every time. I'm implying that we should at least have some number where if it goes over that number, we say, okay, and we write it in the agreement.
Yeah.
If
Egregious
do that, set a
fees
dollar
or
amount, like a
something.
I mean, there
25,000
should
or-
be an exit, you know, if we have the master service agreement
I agree.
and their pricing is twice as high as someone else, I think we have a right to say, well, wait a minute,
Yeah.
because we have this agreement. I'm not implying that they're going to just jack up the prices because, oh, we got this agreement, we can charge them anything we want,
Right.
but it's not our money, it's the constituents' money.
Yeah.
So I think we need to set some dollar limit.
I agree.
And I'll also make sure that it states in here that even if we do sign this, we have the right to take a different bid if wanted.
Yes.
Oh, that's perfect. See,
That's
that's,
perfect.
yeah.
And
Yep.
at the town level, we do have a town engineer. We got a few quotes, and we're handling it that way as well. We have Strand
Okay.
that has worked on a number of projects now for us.
Yeah.
And the consistency is really great. They understand, understand the Lake District. They understand the project. So in that respect, it is helpful, and it probably would save money since they already have a lot of the background. But I understand if you get to a certain point that we could bid out just to ensure that it seems reasonable.
The board has, I think you could write language that the board at any time has the option to get additional bids upon request and not try to set a dollar amount to it.
Yeah, it's because you're throwing a dart at a dartboard.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
I think,
right.
I think
I
we
agree.
could just write that in the motion.
Yep,
Right.
I agree.
Jimmy, also, we already have, I think, in our agreement that anything in a future year depends on our budget,
Yeah,
our
You're right.
approved budget. So
Right.
we already have one little built-in
safeguard.
safety net
Yeah.
or guardrail or whatever.
Yeah.
Just budget-wise,
Yep.
right?
Yeah,
Perfect.
so I think we did that right away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Doug made that motion last month, I believe. It was last month that,
That sounds like something I would do.
right? Like, we didn't want to approve this entire thing unless the budget for 2027 gets approved.
Approved,
Yeah.
right.
yeah.
Right.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
the 5-year burn contract.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
the burn
Yeah.
contract.
That's what it was,
Yep.
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 Yeah, good ideas. And this is going to be reviewed by our attorney, and we'll have him pop these stipulations in there.
So do we want to give the input that we just received to our attorney and then bring it back as a complete document? Or do you want to approve it now?
It's the board's call. I'm happy to do either. We
I
meet
mean,
in February.
I think we
let's give them our input.
I think we can make a motion, and then if the attorney says, great,
Yeah.
it's not a problem.
Yep.
I would make a motion to accept the master services agreement with the understanding that the district has the right to get additional bids
On
if
request, right.
if they're questioning a price, or if a price seems too high
Just upon request.
upon
Just upon
request.
request.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't want to be
Everybody okay
locked
with
in.
No, yeah,
All right.
that sounds
There's
good.
a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Laura, second. Okay. Any other discussion on the Santec agreement? Okay. We'll bring this to our lawyer. Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, you guys.
All right, let's move on to the second item of business, savings account discussion and possible action. Okay, so we've had this on the agenda a couple months now. What we're trying to do is we're trying to find out the best way to utilize what we have for our savings account at this time. We're reporting out that it's $99,905.26. So that's what that's the amount that we have that's not encumbered in any way. And it's monies that we can use for an emergency, which is what it's for, and/or possibly put it into a CD like we had before, or we could look at possibly paying down some of the loan debt. And that was the idea that Steve had, and he had met with our banker at Badger Bank and had some ideas about that. I will just read you briefly what his ideas were, because he's not here to express it, but I will read it to you. I think the board should think about this maybe a little bit longer, and then maybe we can make a decision next month. But Steve's thought was, after he met with a banker, and I was not able to go to this meeting. So the only thing that he had was a document was going to walk through us, showing us rather than investing in a CD, is it far better to pay off our old loan using the checking account, keep that money we have budgeted for the original loan in our account, and at the end of the year, use it to pay down principal on our new loan. We should do that each year for the remaining term of the old loan. I ran this concept by our banker at Badger Bank, and he informed me that it would be best for us in the long run to do so. Depending on the interest rate at the time, we need to refinance our new loan. It will save us somewhere between $300 to $400 a month, with long-term savings between $40,000 and $50,000 over a 10-year period for the new loan. So he calculated everything out, assuming that a 10-year refinancing loan, and has that idea. So in either case, I wouldn't do that until we receive the funding from the recent tax collection, so probably in March, so when we get our next batch of money in from taxes. So that's kind of his idea on how we possibly could use a portion of that $99,000. I don't have the payoff amount on our first loan in front of us today, I don't think, but I think it's under $50,000, because last time I remember Debbie reporting on it, it was 50, so it would be well under 50,000 at this time, and we have 99,000. So I would like the board to consider this, to keep maybe roughly, I'm just saying roughly, half of that 99,000 in that emergency reserve account, so we're always around that $40,000 to $50,000 range in case something happens with the harvester or the truck, and maybe we can look at using the rest of that money to pay down the loan. So that's an idea Steve had with our banker. I'm okay with all that, but again, I would like Steve to be here to probably talk about that some more, maybe next month, and then we can make a decision. What do you guys think? Do you guys have any ideas on it?
I think we need to know, number one, what's the interest rate on the current loan of
Yep.
$50,000?
Yep.
What's the opportunity? The first thing we should be doing right now is that $99,000 should be put into a high-yield savings account that we have access to. Not sit in the bank with ridiculously low interest. I mean, I've seen, and I know this because I've been looking at this for our HOA with our reserve accounts, and anywhere from 3.5% to I've seen as high as 6.5% for high yield savings accounts. I don't really have a position on the $50,000 loan, because without knowing the interest rate. If the interest rate is like 2.5%,
It's low,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think you have to look at what makes more sense.
Mhm.
You know, does it make more sense to put $100,000 in a 4.5% loan and then every month take that interest income and use it to pay off a lower? I mean, there's all sorts of scenarios you can
Yeah.
run. So
Right.
that's the information that we're going to need
Yep.
to really be able to make
Yep.
an educated decision. So
Yep, I fully agree.
Yeah.
I think it's good that we get it out there. I want you guys to think about it,
Mhm.
and we'll hopefully come up with a,
I like the idea of getting rid of debt, but not at the expense of underfunding an emergency fund.
right,
you know?
Correct.
yeah, we should,
Let's
as a
do the
board,
D-
kinda set
Let's
a
do the
minimum.
Dave Ramsey approach here, you
Yeah.
know?
Oh, I like you, Doug, already.
Keep the emergency fund. You got to have that
You
first and
gotta have your
foremost.
emergency.
You have to
But
have
you
an
also have to pay off your debt before you fund the
Yeah.
That's true.
emergency fund.
That's
So,
correct.
So I think
but I
there's a
do
balance
like
of
the
both.
high yield approach. I do think that's really wise, and I know a lot of people were looking at that for other things too. So I think that's an interesting approach to look at.
I
Yeah.
think so
To
too. If-
make more money and pay off debt, but maybe we can pay off some debt.
And maybe we do both. I mean, I think that's the
Correct.
idea, is try to come up with
You
that
probably do
combination.
both.
I agree.
What does that look like to do both? And personally, I like to see roughly between 40 and 50,000 in that emergency fund
agree.
bucket, right?
Keep
So,
that there.
You have to have some
Yeah.
emergency fund. I
Yes.
mean, I
6 months of expenses.
And did
Well,
you say
there you
we're
go.
looking at
It's not hard
another
to do the
loan?
math.
We're taking out another loan, or we're just adjusting our current loan, refinancing our?
so
It's a
The
different
latter.
loan.
Oh, it's
yeah.
a different loan.
We-
So we're
we've
gonna have
already,
two?
yeah, so we have two loans in existence. One was the 100,000, which was the first loan we took out when we entered the purchase of one of the properties that fell through.
Okay.
So we took that money and we put it into the account because we knew that there was another property coming for sale.
Yep.
And that one didn't work out. So then this one came for sale. So we were able to use that money to put a down payment on the current, on the 11 acres. And then we got a loan, additional loan to buy the 18 acres.
Okay.
So there are, in effect, two separate loans. But
What's the second
they're
loan
both budgeted for.
Yeah.
And we can start to figure out how to pay them down now.
Okay, I agree with Doug. You know, we have to balance. If you have a very low interest rate, it doesn't seem to make sense if you can be making quite a bit more in another location, then it makes sense to keep that loan and just pay it down more slowly. So yeah, having all those numbers would be helpful for us to see. Can we have that as part of our packet then
Yeah.
too?
Yeah, that's the goal.
Okay.
Again, Steve, got sick.
You want to run a bunch of scenarios, don't you?
Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
money
that's
nerd.
the
You're a
engine-
money nerd like me.
That's the
Well, and is
engineer in me.
that high yield
I think that's
adjustable,
good.
and
More
does
eyes on
it
it, the better.
fluctuate, and does it offset, and how long is the loan, and does it make sense? So,
Yeah, we'll bring back
yeah.
some different scenarios with the interest rates and where we're at for the
Correct. Right.
payments, so we all have it in front of us. So,
Yeah, thanks for that work. I
Yeah.
think it'll be good for our constituents to see that we're taking a close look at this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, so I wanted to get it out to everybody so we could think about it again.
Yep.
And then we can have more discussion next month then, okay?
Great.
Yep.
Thank
All
you.
right. Yep, thank you
Yeah.
guys. Good conversation. Okay, we'll move on to the February board meeting date, discussion and possible action. This has been on the agenda a couple months. We've been going back and forth, having discussions about what our future monthly meetings look like. This one in particular is going to allow us to have a February meeting on Saturday. That's what this is for, because we didn't approve the whole year at once because we wanted to talk about this more, and I didn't want to pass a motion last month because we had board members gone, and I wanted everyone to be here if we're going to decide to change one of the board meetings or a few of the board meetings to a possible weeknight. So we're missing 2 board members today, so I don't know how much discussion we want to have for in the future, but we do have to approve our February meeting. So I will make a motion to have our February meeting on Saturday, on the 3rd Saturday of February, whatever date that is.
The 21st.
Yep.
21st.
21st at the same time. So
Yep.
I'll make that motion to get us to February, and then in the other discussion, we can talk about future.
Can I ask, where is this, has this been a request from a constituent?
Let's get to that in the next agenda item.
Okay.
So I have made a motion to have the February board meeting on the 21st. Is there a second?
Second.
Laura, second. Okay, is there any other discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, now we can move into old business, 2026 board meeting dates, discussions, and possible actions. Okay, so Doug, to your question, throughout the summer and throughout the year, we've missed a few board members, and people have things come up on weekends and summers, and it just came up that, I'm not suggesting this, and I'm not recommending it, but I'm just asking the board. Is this something that the board would consider? Is it possible we would want to have a meeting more during the week for a monthly meeting versus every Saturday all the way through? The annual meeting is already voted on, and it's already set. That's already the third Saturday in August. We're not changing the annual meetings. But is there an opportunity to have some meetings during the week throughout the year so people who have plans on weekends, they can maybe make a different kind of a plan? And that's the only reason it came up.
Do you find that, I guess I haven't really paid attention, do you find over the years that you have more seasonal people coming to these meetings? Or would they be likely here on the weekend as opposed to the weekday?
Well, that's the history, right? So the history going way back is there was a lot of seasonal homes here, a lot. Like the percentage was way more than half, right? And obviously that's, I think, why it started out being that way. Over time, we've had less members coming to the meetings, probably because of the weekend thing, and there's more and more permanent owners now on site. Now, I don't know what that balance is, but I don't think it's half anymore. Maybe, I don't know if anybody could comment to that, but I wouldn't think it's half anymore, but it's less, for sure. So it's not just, I don't think it's just coming up for the board members itself, it's maybe to encourage more members to come to the meetings too. So,
My concern would be confusion. Like,
well, of course, we have to educate,
you know,
right?
we're going to have this meeting, I mean, I would definitely be against like every other month being on a weeknight or something. I think we have to have some sort of continuity. I mean, from a personal perspective, I would love not to have it on every Saturday of the month.
Yeah, I think that's why we brought it up.
But I think you also have to think about attendance and people
Right.
just have it in their brain, it's
Yeah.
it's the third Saturday, so.
Is there an opportunity to do a couple months during the summer where we could look at a Thursday night or something, or, Georgia?
Well, I have a personal opinion
Sure.
about this as the secretary, because I have to write the minutes. So Saturdays for me, I finish here, I go home, I do something else for a little while, and then I sit down, and Saturday afternoon, I'm writing the minutes. If I'm doing it in an evening, which will already be difficult for me at 83 and a half, just reminding people, and I would not be able to drive here if it's winter, because I don't drive in the dark anymore, then how do I have to wait till the weekend then to write the minutes, and that could be really tricky.
And we have to check in with Steve too, because I know Steve goes back and forth, and I have not had a conversation with Steve yet, and I was hoping he could be here, but he's not feeling well. So again, maybe this is something, again, I don't want to make any decisions unless all the board members are here. And we've been struggling getting all the board members here for various reasons the last couple months. So this might be something we talk about again next month.
Jimmy,
But I want you guys to think about it, if there's any options.
what about if Leanna emails the board members and gives some days of the week or
Try to do a little survey?
little survey?
We could maybe do
You know,
that.
for us, we can't have it the third Tuesday of the month, that's our board meeting.
Right.
Things like that,
Right.
that maybe people,
Could weigh in, some
okay,
options?
yes.
Okay, yeah, because we've been missing board members through the last couple months, maybe they could still put some input into it? Okay? I don't, just because of what I've seen with Steve, we probably aren't gonna be able to look at in the beginning of the week. If we do, it's probably gonna have to be a Thursday or Friday, if it's gonna be a weekday, because, Steve
Taking
comes
us out
back
for dinner
typically
then on
for-
a Friday when we're all done?
Well, maybe.
Yeah, right?
On Jimmy.
Exactly.
I will go
Pass
on
on
record
Fridays.
that I will be vehemently against a Friday night
Same.
meeting.
Yeah, it'd be
Totally
tough to
same.
do it Friday.
Unless I can
And
bring,
maybe-
unless I can have drink Manhattans while I'm.
Yeah.
I second that.
And maybe we look at it Thursday at 4 o'clock or something. It's just an option. Again,
Keep in mind that a lot of the board members have full-time jobs.
right.
Yep,
This is not
that's
my
true.
job.
Yep.
That's true.
At 4 o'clock is not going to work.
Not gonna work.
It's
So-
not going to work for more. We should ask our constituents,
And we should ask the
our
people in
regular
the audience.
attendees right here, what do you think about
Yeah,
that?
we should ask people. Everyone's involved.
Well, I want your life then. Okay.
I think it's important that we think about that, like the residents being able to attend as well if we
Of
have
course.
it too early, not only the board members, but the residents attending.
So, okay, well, great ideas. Let's do that. Let's put a survey out, and we'll see if we can collect some more data
Okay.
and see what
Yep.
you guys think, and we'll try to get everyone's opinion before we make
Right.
any decisions. So,
Right.
Perfect.
but I just
And
wanted to
also
put it
con-
out there.
And
Okay?
also consider
Well, you know
Georgia
mine.
and
Yeah,
the driving.
definitely.
Yep,
But we can
Well-
also
That's anyway.
carpool if needed.
we
Yes.
can carpool if we have to.
Yes, so
I
we'll
would
make it work,
volunteer
Georgia. Sure, we'll make
to
it
help
work
with-
no matter what
With
happens.
Georgia.
Yeah.
All right, good discussion. All right, we'll put a survey out, and we'll bring it back next month. Okay, any other announcements? Any announcements today? You got anything? Holy cow. All right, make a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, there's a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Doug?
Second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, thanks, you guys. Great discussion.